Is it going? Yeah, it's going. Well, just for the fun of it, I want to describe, just for you, Dave, or, I don't know, some kind of posterity. I got myself hooked on booze, and I got a hat. Somebody gave me this hat. It's I forget what it's called. Well, trashed hat. For a trashed head. Oh. I made myself some coffee. Because I'm dragging. I quit smoking the dope, by which I mean meth. I haven't had any for at least a month. Then I was dirt poor, so I got all kinds of sober. And then when I got money, I thought, well, a couple things I want to get, man. I'm going to get a big screen TV. So I got a 24-inch TV, which for me is a fucking big screen TV. I do everything on the phone. Well, when I was destitute, I didn't have any money, and I had an income, but my money had to go to people that I didn't have. I didn't have the energy to fight for my money. I just decided, fuck it, I'm just going to pay it. I'm just going to pay it. My landlord and people, I mean, all they had to do was call me and tell me what was up, but they never did. So, but now I'm beginning to be recovered. I'm beginning to, man, I bought a fan. I bought a back box fan. I can't live without a fucking box fan. Actually, it's not running right now. It's kind of hard to get it back into my... Well, I've got ceiling fans up here. There's a ceiling fan up here. So there are fans, but I'm all about ventilation. Mix shit up, and also for temperature consistency throughout the apartment. But also just, and it should be on now. I think it's okay to turn on now. I don't think it's too cold outside. But I wanted to describe aspects of my experience with alcoholism, because I've got the alcoholism. And this is, I don't care for this. It looks, I'm looking down at you, which is uncool. I don't think this hat is any cool, but check it out. Do I have a choice? Cover up the brain with something. Try to hide it. Try to hide the brain. I don't even know how to wear the hat. It's got a button here. It can flop down, but now that looks like Mr. Doughboy or something. The only thing I had in mind to talk to you guys about, or myself, is try to see with my hands here. I'm very good at seeing with my hands. I'm not kidding. I'm very good at seeing with my hands. I'm a mechanic, or was employed as a mechanic for a long time. And 90% of what you do, you can't see with your eyes. You have to see with your hands, because you're up there, you're under the car, and you are manipulating the bolts and blah 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 of like a starter, to take the starter out of the car, replace it, rebuild it, or replace it. I'm that old school. I finally learned, Dave, don't rebuild it, just replace it. So in my mind, a mechanic will rebuild the starter. And it'll be, I mean, sure, it won't be new, but there are only a few things that will whack a starter. And you can get, in other words, brushes, clean up the commutator and you know, and give the bearings half a chance to live for a while by cleaning them and greasing them and stuff. And that starter will be good for another 40,000, 50, 60,000 miles. That's the kind of mechanic I am. Or the wheel cylinders. The wheel cylinders. I rebuild wheel cylinders. I don't just replace wheel cylinders. Well, back, towards the latter portion of my career as a mechanic, you just replace it. And actually, stuff began to get so cheap because it was made in China that man, you could spend 30, 40 minutes rebuilding, honing everything a wheel cylinder. When I say wheel cylinder, nobody's going to know what I say. It's the hydraulic for drum brakes, which there are a few drum brakes left, I think. But you can also do it to disc brakes. You clean it up, you hone it. It is the hydraulic mechanism, the pistons inside a cylinder that push out on the shoes inside the drum to cause friction and stop the tire from turning or slow it down or whatever. And the same thing is true with so I finally was like, okay, I give up. Because I am so old school. I'm like, well, you don't throw something away just because, it's not working anymore. What you do is you take it apart and fix it. The last box fan that I had, way back in the hood, I took it apart and cleaned it probably a dozen times. Because I often had little kitties running around, I had to put it all back together like it were new. Until the bearings just, because my fan generally, like the ceiling fan, just runs forever. I just let it run. And it's cheap. So I would rebuild it. Well, I had no money. So I'd rebuild it rather than go buy a new one. And of course they're cheap. $15, 20 maybe, 15. Where are you going, Dave? I'm old school. You rebuild, you don't replace. But then that's the fun of it. You get to take this thing that's all worn out, it's gunky with shit, and you take it apart and clean it up, replace the little constituent parts if necessary. It's brushes, a brush, you need new brushes. However, you don't necessarily need new brushes. Just clean them up. And I want to say the word attenuate. Make sure you've got plenty of spring pressure holding it against the commutator. And the commutator, you don't need to put the thing. You don't have to spin it and cut it down. You can do that with sandpaper and stuff. I'm just hey Buster. Hey Bear. What's going on? Did another kitty cat come in here? Because I'm not hearing him now. Did that black cat, who I do believe fucked your mother and made these babies? He's not a bad looking cat, actually. I like him. It's just he can't live here. Or come in here and try to fuck with babies. And Bear, I want to know where you were. Sounded to me like your mother was chasing the cat out. This is, God damn, we've got enough cats. Pause. And it goes again? Yeah. Well, yeah, so I've been sitting here drinking. This is coffee. Because I think what I need to do now is sweep the place out and take the trash out. Dave, that would augment your standard of living if you just did that one thing. Okay. Well, I'm going to drink this coffee and and do that. Gotta do laundry. So I just things are just going to hell. Oh, what I want to say about the alcoholism is that when I first get out of bed, which I did today at about 12:30, which is very late for me. Well, I think I was up drinking till 4 or 5. Just watching TV and and I don't just watch shit. Right now I'm watching something about asbestos. The history guy, who I just found out lives in St. Louis. I love these little, it flashes up little things. And you have 2 seconds to read it. My span of attention is really low. I mean, I'll put on something on YouTube or TV that I'm really curious about. You know, it feeds my quest for knowledge. But I just want to turn it off and go to something else. That's kind of like, that's not Dave. I will indulge something. In fact, what I want to do with the asbestos thing is I don't know if he's going to get around to it. But I want to know the specifics about manufacturing, mining and manufacturing in Minnesota. The 3M. You know, I worked on a lot of brakes, and I was very careful. I was as careful as I could possibly be, knowing that the brake pads were made from asbestos. And so, I mean, there are precautions you can take. And I think I minimized my exposure to asbestos as much as I reasonably could have. You know, instead of taking a brake drum and just dropping it in water, soapy water, that would have been a good thing. And then asbestos just goes into solution, and then you can take it out and then you can clean it. I never did that. What I did was I'd carry the thing, with your finger inside the brake drum. Just carry it out back, bang it on, hold myself away, hold my breath, bang it on the pavement, out back. Let those people deal with it. Then I work on it. Maybe wipe it down. I don't know. It's been decades since I did it. Well, it hasn't been decades. It's been decades since I did it regularly as a mechanic. Of late, there have been several cars that I work on just because they find out it's like having a truck. They find out you got a truck, well, all of a sudden you got all kinds of things. And you can cancel your weekends because everybody wants to move. Well, they find out you're a mechanic and they want you to stick your head or your entire body under or inside of the car. And I don't want to do that anymore. I have done it kind of recently, and I kind of dug it for a number of reasons. First of all, it kind of remind me of who I've actually been. I'm a mechanic. Which means all things mechanical just intrigue me. And if you want to, I'm the best at diagnosing a car. I used to be. Now you can't do it anymore because everything's electronically controlled. You can't listen to the exhaust of an automobile and tell what's wrong with it. I used to do that all the time. But there was something really wrong with it. One of the things I had to do was listen to the exhaust. And that may sound really stupid, but I was a great mechanic. I'm just saying I was a great mechanic. gift from God. But the electronics thing, when I say that, it's the electronics hide the symptoms. So unless you know how each electronic system works and what it's doing, logic would not dictate to you what's wrong with the car. So, well, you know, and listening to the exhaust isn't going to do much. But actually, it can. Well, it's a starting point. So anyway, yeah. So, but then as I drink, and when you wake up in the morning after not drinking for 6 or 8 hours because you've been asleep, because you took the drugs that necessary to put you to sleep, you wake up a little fucked. Just a little fucked. Yeah. And, you know, there's a difference between a hangover and being fucked. You know, I woke up this morning. Actually, I stayed in bed. I could have gotten up at 9, but I stayed in bed on purpose, and I was, you know, stayed there, thinking, man, if I could just stay here for a day, then I might be able to shake off the alcohol. What I didn't want to do was get up. See, I'm a two-fisted drinker. You have your speed, and you have your depressant, both of which speed me. Now I'm working on a. How long is this going now? 17. Working on. I gotta get off. I need to jump off the train. So I can keep this up forever. I can keep this up forever. I'm not getting to the depths of drunkenness that I used to. It is all changed now. It's a sea change. Is this Mutiny on the Bounty? Yeah, I don't think it is, but it's an old black and white. This is not Mutiny on the Bounty. Oh, yeah, no. Oh, it's a paddle wheeler, okay? And it's like they had rowboats trying to pull it off. I'm going to stop. So no fruition. Yeah, so I think it's interesting that the whole point of the thing is to say, I'm watching my character. You wake up in the morning and you're kind of fearful. Yeah, fearful. Because you don't know what you did last night, really. You're not sure what you did the night before. Especially with me, now I know. Because I've been told, you know, at parties and stuff, I've been told by a guy who he wanted to be my friend, and he tried to be my friend, and I tried to be his friend, and worked on his cars. He had a good job. He was a locomotive engineer, or captain or something like that. With Union Pacific. I mean, he made money. He said, Dave, the thing is, you know, you'll be out with us and everything, and you're great. We love you. You're wonderful. Blah blah blah. And then you go to the bathroom, and you come back, and you're an asshole. Just a horrible fucking asshole. And of course, I don't know anything about this because I black out. I black out. I mean, I know that in the moment, what I'm remembering like now, is that I'm cognizant in the moment. And I think I have an idea, partly about becoming an asshole. I've had a lot of time to contemplate it. I'm a very passive person. I'm actually very passive. And so I'll go to the bathroom, look at myself in the mirror, and I'll say to myself, how dare those motherfuckers fuck with me? Just because I don't fight back. Just because I don't fight back, I let it, because I don't need to. I don't fucking need to. And yet they're mean to me. They depreciate my being, and I won't have it. So I go back, and apparently, because I don't remember things I say to folks. But so get off on this tangent. Yeah. Oh yeah, about the not remembering what you did last night. It's been relatively helpful, because I've caused some ruckuses here in the apartment building. People who stole my money, and all I want to do is buy some fucking meth. Where are you? Over here? Over here. You're over here. So I have to look that way in order for it to line up. So hold the camera further away, Dave. So, but then as you drink, you develop confidence. You feel better. Because I'm subject to people banging on my door. Doors, I have two doors, the front and the back. And folks just like to walk up to them and bang on the door. And what they're wanting to do is sell me some shit. Which right now, I'm open to buying some shit. I have cash. I like to buy, what I really want is marijuana. Marijuana is the drug. That is what I want. I don't want booze. I don't want meth. I don't want fucking cigarettes. That's the other thing. I've started it up again. We'll see. I'll quit. I will quit. I know I'll quit. I went 6 months with virtually no cigarettes. Stop and go back. Just stop.